Many people don't know this nuance. On this episode of The Edward Show, I'm going to be sharing the difference between TikTok and Instagram. What is better to grow? What's better for anonymity? What's better for building a brand? What's better for getting visibility, for getting users, for getting customers, for getting clients? What is better? What are the differences? What should you be doing different on both? Anything? I'm going to be answering those questions and more on episode, I've lost count, 200 something. This is my daily growth hacking, growth marketing podcast. I do this show every single day. I think this is 238, but I don't remember. But let's jump into it. Here's your answer. Instagram, easier to grow on. TikTok, better for anonymity and training. So I want to give a background about how I know these things. If I'm a trustworthy source for this, am I a good source for this? Am I just some random marketer talking about social media on the internet? Or do I actually know my stuff? If you listen to the show, you know that I know my stuff. If you don't listen, my background is. Today was 485 consecutive days hosting, uploading at least a video, at least one video a day, 485 consecutive days, uploading at least one video a day to TikTok and Instagram and every other platform because my videos come out everywhere. But I'm most active on TikTok and Instagram, and those are my two favorite channels. So I have made a video without fail for 485 days and put it up 485 days in a row, even when I had the norovirus in Barcelona and I was visiting my ex-girlfriend and I was so sick. I was sick as a dog. I still managed to get out at least one video. So 485 days, that's my experience. You can take it or leave it. That's how I know these things. Instagram is easier. TikTok is more universally appealing. If a piece of content does well on TikTok, it's evergreen. You can pretty much reuse it forever and you can use it everywhere. You can use it in ads. You can use it on LinkedIn. You can use it on Twitter. You can use it in so many different places. If it goes viral on TikTok, it means that it is cream of the crop for your content. And if it goes viral, like many millions of views, it's just cream of the crop for content in your niche, period. Instagram is not the same. Instagram is a lot easier. I've been writing a lot about this recently. I've noticed a formula for growing on Instagram, and you can go from 0 to many thousands of followers in under a month using this formula on Instagram with a new account, whereas it's a lot harder to do that on TikTok. The formula is you post at least one reel a day on Instagram every single day, and you stick rigidly to your niche, and it's that easy, and you do it manually and not with a third-party tool. Post one reel a day manually through the Instagram mobile app, and Instagram Reel is just a short-form video if you don't know, and you do that every single day, and if you do that on both Instagram and TikTok, you will grow way faster on Instagram. By the end of the 1 month period, you will have a lot more followers on Instagram than on TikTok. Instagram is easier. Now, the downside about this is if you make bad stuff, your followers on Instagram are gonna see that. And I said TikTok is a lot more anonymous. If you make bad stuff on TikTok, TikTok will stop pushing it out. The algorithms will stop pushing it out to your followers. And so your bad stuff on TikTok may get only a few hundred views or a few thousand views, depending on how many followers you have. If you have no followers, it might only get dozens of views. Where on Instagram, that number will be multiplied by 100, 1,000, or more. And this because the Instagram algorithm pushes out your posts to your followers a lot more and a lot less based on merit, a lot less based on engagement stats than on TikTok. Something that TikTok is really good for and really useful for, and I personally use it for this, is A/B testing. If something does well on TikTok, I've talked about this, you can reuse it, but also you know that it is a validated piece of media. It is a piece of media that you really can use everywhere without hesitation or shame because it is something that people will like. I'll give some examples about this. There was a glitch, basically, a hack on Instagram where if you post it in a certain way, this doesn't exist anymore. I've talked about this on previous episodes. I've said exactly how to do this. There was this hack where if you posted through the app on Instagram in a very specific way, your content would get amplified to so many new followers. And I found that when I took something that was well performing from TikTok and I posted it to Instagram, it already done well on TikTok. Maybe it got 100,000 views. Maybe it got 1 million views. Maybe you got 3 million views. It would usually get 3 to 6x more views on Instagram by posting it in this way. So a very easy example, I had some video, it got 66,000 views, and I posted it using this glitch on Instagram. There's a video about how you can launch tech products from anywhere in the world. I'm here in Poland. and I took some video of the main square here in this city in Poland that I'm in. And I started the video. I said, you can launch a tech startup from anywhere in the world. You don't have to be in San Francisco, New York City, or Miami. You can use these launch platforms. There's Beta List and Product Hunt. And that video got, I think, 66,000 views on TikTok. On Instagram, the video got 400,000 views. And I was able to, what I did with that is it got me a lot of followers as well, invitations to things here in the city. But I pinned a comment on that and I said, if anyone is in the city who would like to meet and talk about technology or marketing, send me a message. And I met with so many people as a result of this. But it did way better on Instagram. It was validated by TikTok and it did way better on Instagram. So if something does well on TikTok, there's a good chance it's going to do a lot better on Instagram. And if something does poorly on TikTok, you're still going to get a lot more views on it on Instagram. But that's not necessarily a good thing, because the next part of this is Instagram is more about brand. Instagram is a lot more about brand than TikTok. On Instagram, you want to be more hesitant about overwhelming your followers, your existing followers, with sludge. Now, this is only for people who have existing followers. This is only for people who have a brand. If you don't have a brand, don't care about anything. Just post a reel every single day and stick rigidly to your niche, and then you will have a brand. And it's really easy, crazy easy, so much easier than on TikTok. But something that I have personally had happen, I think I'm a lot better making videos now than I was, say, 6 to 8 months ago. But 8 months ago, I would have old friends discover my new Instagram where all of my videos from TikTok were coming out and the videos were not very good. And I didn't know the secret about posting then. So all of my videos went out to my existing followers. Like, I wasn't doing anything right. I should have been posting manually through the app and posting in the specific way where the glitch was still active. And I didn't know any of that. The reason you keep going in a niche is because the longer you go, the more hacks you learn, the more tricks you learn, the more skills you learn, and it's the better you get, and everything eventually compounds, which is kind of what's been happening to me lately. That wasn't happening then. And so I would have friends follow this new account. I would follow them back, and then they would unfollow me several days or weeks later. And I'd say, why'd you unfollow me? We're friends. They would say, oh, your content was just showing up in my feed too much, and it was not for me. And honestly, I don't blame them. The videos weren't very, I do blame them because you can actually mute somebody. You can mute somebody's posts or stories, whichever you like, on Instagram. And the ones who did this didn't really know, but it doesn't even matter. It's if a non-friend is just seeing sludge from you, that non-friend is going to unfollow you and the brand will look bad. So whatever you post on Instagram, your community, your tribe, your people will see. That is not the case, like I said, on TikTok. That's one of the reasons why TikTok is really good. If you have never posted anything before and you really just want to learn and you want to be just punched into as you learn, basically, you want to get just the harshest, most critical feedback, TikTok is a good way to do that. That's how I started. I started on TikTok before I knew anything. And my niche was completely different. It's probably a good thing that I started on TikTok. My videos were coming out simultaneously to Instagram Reels, but they were coming out with a third-party tool, which is not what I should have been doing. I didn't know that. My videos come out, let me tell you, my videos come out everywhere. Everywhere, you say? Everywhere, I say. This is what I mean. They come out on Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, Snapchat Spotlight, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter X, and YouTube Shorts, and Facebook. Wow. The only places that I have seen that really care about this are the meta platforms, and especially Instagram. If it comes out with a third-party tool, if your reel comes out with a third-party tool for whatever reason, and this has always been the case, which is really silly because Meta has an API for pushing out reels. So it is really silly that they would do this, but the videos do not do as well. It's actually severely worse, really so much worse. And when you manually post them, they do a lot better. But I didn't know any of this, and so I had to learn as I went along. So Instagram followers are going to see everything. Instagram is a lot easier to grow on. TikTok is better for A/B testing content, A/B testing hooks, especially A/B testing music, A/B testing whatever you want. Instagram is a lot more about brand, and it's just so much easier to grow on if you are posting manually daily and sticking rigidly to your niche. In a later episode, I'm going to give examples of friends who have gone, and I've watched them do exactly this, and they have gone within either a month or 2 months to many thousands or tens of thousands of followers. One went in 3 weeks from 0 to 7,000 followers with a new account. The other went from 0 followers to 19,000 followers in 5 weeks with a new account. You know what it's like? It's like, I'm from New York City, I'm from Brooklyn, and we have an expression in New York. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. New York, New York, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. At the end of every Yankee game, you would hear Frank Sinatra saying, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere, saying New York, New York. Hear that all the time growing up. At the end of every Yankee game, you hear that. And it's the same thing about TikTok. If you can make it on TikTok, you can make it anywhere, and especially on Instagram. The last thing I'll share on this episode is, what about YouTube Shorts? This is only going to be a short part for YouTube Shorts, because this episode of The Edward Show is specifically about TikTok versus Instagram, Instagram versus TikTok. What's better? What are the differences? That's what this episode is about. But YouTube Shorts, I have noticed, it's more about subject matter. Subject matter matters on Instagram and TikTok as well, but the combination of music and visuals is more important on TikTok and Instagram than on YouTube Shorts. Everything's important everywhere, but communities on different platforms seem to prefer different things. So that's what I've noticed about YouTube Shorts. That part is just a small part of this episode. So what's the takeaway from this episode? The takeaway is, if you don't have a brand and you're not on social media and you're thinking about doing it, which I would recommend, I've talked about it so many times, why it's so much easier than you think to grow on social media, and how you can get, I've told stories about how I've had an app get 3,100 users in a single day from one video that I made in 15 minutes. Another video I made in 15 minutes, made an app, $30,000 monthly recurring revenue. Like, it made that in 15 minutes from a hotel lobby bar. I've told these stories millions of times, trillions of times, so many times. So if you're not on it, get on it. Post rigidly within your niche, manually, one reel a day at least through the Instagram app. You're going to grow on Instagram a lot faster than TikTok. But if you want to figure out content that does really well, and you want to learn how to make content, and you're new, and you don't really want anyone to see your stuff, TikTok is such a great place to start. You will be so anonymous on TikTok. When you're making garbage, no one is going to see it, which will be both bad and good, and you will really learn. And what if you're listening to this and you're already established? Maybe you have tens of thousands of followers, maybe you have hundreds, maybe you have millions. What then? Well, you probably already know the differences, but you would think more about crafting a brand on Instagram than on TikTok. And you would use TikTok more for testing. There are some videos which don't do well on TikTok, and I just won't put them on Instagram because I know my followers are going to see it. And so maybe you will do something like that. Or maybe you'll look at content that you have had do well on TikTok and say, oh, I can repurpose this. I can use this in an ad. I can use this as a post. I can use this on this platform or this platform. And maybe you'll do that instead. So I think this episode has something in it for everybody, people who are starting, people who are there. These are great platforms. I love them to death. That's why I'm 485 consecutive days into daily posting, because going viral is fun. Going viral brings a lot of traction. This show, The Edward Show, is all about getting traction. And when you make a video and it takes you 5 minutes or 15 minutes or even an hour, and it brings you so many users and customers and so much visibility, feels like a crazy growth hack. It's a great feeling. My audience on this show, most of my audience comes from my viewers on TikTok and on Instagram. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you again tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed this one. I'm feeling pretty good. Bye now.